Welcome back to Learning How. Today we are learning about Joseph Haydn. He was born in 1732. He died in 1809 and he is from from Austria. At this time in history, in 1756, the 7 Years' War began. In 1762, Catherine the Great becomes the Tsar of Russia. And in 1787, the U.S. Constitution is signed. Joseph Haydn's dad made wheels for wagons, and his mother was a cook. It became evident at a young age that young Haydn was very musically talented. At the age of 6, he left home to join a boys' choir at a church. Haydn was quoted saying that young people can learn from my example, that something can come from nothing. What I have become is a result of my hard efforts. What a great quote. The first piece of music from Haydn that we're going to listen to is called Symphony Number 94. This is one of 6 symphonies that Haydn wrote. The second movement in this piece, in this symphony, is called The Surprise. Haydn, when he first presented the symphony in London, he was not leading the orchestra from the conductor's podium. He was sitting at a piano. The musical term that we're going to learn through this piece is andante, which means a moderately slow tempo. Why do you think this piece is called Surprise? The second piece that we're going to learn from Haydn is called Symphony Number 92. It was written in 1789. And it was originally written for a pretty small orchestra. The musical term that we're going to learn here is presto, which means a fast tempo. Listen to when the song begins, which family begins the piece. And then about 10 seconds in, listen. What family then joins? The third piece from Haydn that we're going to listen to is Cello, Concerto in C, around 1761 to 1763. This piece was written for one of Haydn's friends, who is a principal celloist for Prince Nicholas's art orchestra. This piece, we are going to study the cello. It is like a big bass type instrument that is used on the floor that's set upright, and then you use a bow to be able to play. We'll post a little link about more information about the cello. Historians thought that this piece was lost forever. Until 1961, it turned back up in a Prague museum. The final piece that we're going to listen to from Haydn is called Symphony 45. It is also known as the Farewell Symphony. Thinking of all the pieces that we're studying, this one is my favorite because there is a great story that goes with this piece. Prince Nicholas was Haydn's boss, and so he would write symphonies for him and other use musical pieces for him. But musicians at that time were seen as a servant's type of role, and that Nicholas would go to his summer house during the summer. But this summer house wasn't large enough for the whole orchestra to be able to bring their families with them to stay with them. So for the entire summer, the musicians would be away from their families. One summer, it stayed unusually warm well into the fall. So around like late October, maybe even beginning of early November, the musicians were longing to get home to their families. The musicians came to Haydn and said, "We need to go home. Is there a way that you can ask that we can finally go home?" Haydn, in his creative, fun way, decided a great way to be able to ask his boss, Prince Nicholas, for a way for them to all to go home. The Farewell Symphony. It begins with the whole orchestra playing together, and slowly, 2 by 2, the musicians will turn off their candles. They would dim their candles, turn their lights off, and then they would exit until finally it was just Haydn and one other person playing the violin in the orchestra. Nicholas has a great sense of humor too, as he and Haydn also had a really great working relationship. So he got the message, and the next day they left for home. The whole orchestra was very happy then. The musical term that we're going to learn here is decrescendo, which means to decrease in loudness, to slowly get softer. One thing that I really liked about Haydn, about learning from him, is that he is a practical jokester. As you can tell from his Farewell Symphony, that he has a really great sense of humor, and that he was known for playing lots of practical jokes. What eventually got him kicked out of his young boys' choir when he was younger was that he snipped the hair of a fellow student who was in the choir. He had a ponytail, and Haydn cut his ponytail. He thought it was a funny joke. but Haydn throughout his life was known to be a practical jokester. So today, this is why the other boys are not helping with learning Howell, is because we're gonna play a practical joke with them. From one of Hudson's teachers, he received a fake bug, like a big old cockroach, and he has been terrorizing our family with it. He likes to especially put it on Ridgely because she's like deathly afraid of it. So we are gonna try to practically joke Hudson, because he's got a good sense of humor and he can roll with it, with this cockroach all day long, and see just how many times can we get him back. You can also share with us maybe some of your fun practical jokes. You can either retell it, or maybe you can show us, maybe you record your practical jokes. But the key to a good practical joke is, there's a couple rules that you have to obey by. First thing is that nobody gets their feelings hurt. You have to make sure that nobody feels like personally attacked or they get their feelings hurt, because that's not fun. A fun joke is when everybody can enjoy it, including the person the joke is on. So you have to make sure the person will laugh themselves and they won't be hurt personally. Their feelings won't get hurt by it. Also, nobody physically gets hurt. Make sure everything is safe. And there's no property damage. Make sure you do not wreck your house or wherever you are. Make sure there's no property damage. Let's see what we can do in good humor, good fun humor. Let's see what we can do. Hey, Heads, what's that? Maya, go sit down. We're gonna serve you some food. Okay, come on. We have some tea for you. You ready for it?
What do you mean?
Here, you want some tea?
Ah!
Hey, James.
Yeah?
Think fast. Come quick, there's a bug. Can you kill it?
What? Ow, what is that? I know it will kill it. Do I have a chance to make phone? Kill it?
Don't forget to hit that notification bell where you can hear our newest episodes.
And help us to get that golden play button and hit it so we're gonna get the golden play button subscriber.
So stay tuned. See you guys later.
Bye.